Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Breakdown After Dark. I'm your host, Casey Smith, joined as always by my two co-hosts, Mr. Keenan Vaughn and Mr. Aidan Dobell. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing quite well. Just watched some awesome Texas Tech Kansas hoops. That was a great game. So yeah, I'm doing great.
I'm doing just fine, Mr. Smith. It's going to be a long week. Got a lot coming up, but I'm really excited.
Why might it be a long week?
Uh, it's something that I probably won't get to until the very end of the episode. But let's just say I've got my hands full with going to an event for the first time.
Oh, wow, very exciting. Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little more later. Also, I wanted to address some rumors, some stuff going on. This is a like a live photo shot. We have our producer and editor working on this haircut right now. I don't have a haircut. I haven't gotten a haircut. I'm familiar that there might be some viewers who are interested in that, particularly my girlfriend. I don't have a haircut, so don't ask, don't tell. I don't know what I always wonder because Aiden's more on my side of TikTok, not Keenan. Have you seen that dude? I don't even know how to describe him. Have you seen that dude on TikTok who he's like 37 years old, but he pretends like he's 17?
You're gonna have to be a bit more specific.
Okay. So he's this dude. I think I sent a video earlier. He's this dude, and he like very clearly like he has some like childlike features, but he
Okay.
looks like a old ish. Like he looks like 37, and his whole bit. And he's like from like some like third world country. He's like from Brazil or something. I don't know. And his whole bit is he's like, I was just out yesterday, and this
You
what
can't see that.
where he was like, and this lady was like, you can't be around there. You're a teenager. And he's like, no, I'm 37. And I was really hoping you did because otherwise it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I really wish I was. I really wish we were on the same page here. I can't say I'm too familiar with what you're talking about right now.
I found what you're talking about, and I don't know. I don't see it like I guess he kind of looks like a 17-year-old, but I don't know. Like the face kind of gives it
he
away.
he kind of has like from a distance if you squint you're like maybe, but then like he has like these bags under his eyes and it's like he's
The haircut is definitely 17-year-old. Like there's no way anyone above who's a grown man should be rocking that haircut.
I gotta see a video of this guy now.
um
But
I think I sent you one, but yeah, I don't know why, but that reminded not of like that's not how I view you, Aiden, but it seemed like something you would
okay.
be. No, you look very much you look your
I
age.
look like him?
No,
Oh,
no, no,
okay.
that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
saying, I'm saying you look 20, but like that type of
Okay,
content
yes.
is
Okay,
what
okay. I
reminded
understand.
me of you.
I got
But
you.
but why don't we talk about sports? What this podcast is supposed to be all about. Starting off with the biggest sporting event of probably the year. Maybe not this year because the World Cup's coming up, but the Super Bowl is coming up. Seahawks, Patriots. Next time we're on the show, we will know who the Super Bowl champion is. But before we get into any of the game analysis, we have to talk. What's going to be the Gatorade killer, fellas?
Um, let's see. I was thinking about this a little bit earlier. I was actually trying to do a little bit of research, trying to figure out what the Gatorade color could be. The last time that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, I watched the Pete Carroll Gatorade shower, and the Gatorade color was orange. So, leads me to believe that they might want to try to repeat that. But teams also do try to go with a color that's similar to the uniform, so it could be blue or purple or something like that. But I'm gonna go with orange.
Keenan?
I'm pretty much just gonna copy and paste that answer. It's so random that I feel like I know people always pick the color that aligns with the team that wins the Super Bowl, but I don't know when the last time the color was orange because I know it's been like I know last year it was lime green. I think it was purple before that. I think the rotation is going to come back around and it'll be orange. And plus, like Aiden said, they'll go back to what the color was the last time they won the big game.
I have a lot of fun with this one. I also have probably the thing I look forward to most for the Super Bowl is when we have our little party. You guys have been to it twice, and we do like our Super Bowl squares. That's so much fun because especially like I don't really care who wins between the Patriots or the Seahawks, but if I can put a little money with my friends and we do. Like the Gatorade color, will a defensive player score a touchdown? Will a non-quarterback throw a pass? Like those random things are fun. Like even when you do the national anthem, it's a lot of fun. So I look forward to that. I think it's going to be blue. Like, I mean, this is such a layup, I think, for the gate. Is that a job? Like Gatorade color picker? Who decides that even? Is it?
It's probably
is it just not like the equipment managers for each?
I was going to say it's probably the equipment manager just kind of asks the team like whatever is your favorite flavor, and that's what they go with.
You could probably make a lot of money off that. Like if you have someone who's in the team and they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be blue, and then you go place a bet. Is that insider trading? I don't know.
That I feel like that's got to be some insider trading.
It's definitely illegal.
It has to have happened once, but I'm going to go with blue. Seahawks are blue. Okay. Patriots are blue. Just feels like a blue year. I don't know, but let's talk about the game itself. What are we thinking in terms of? Let's just zoom out a little bit. Seahawks, Patriots. Who do we think is going to win?
I do think the Seahawks will win. I think they've been the best team all season long. Been the best team in the playoffs. Their defense has been playing at an outstanding rate, even though they didn't look great against the Rams. They still look good enough. And I guess Sam Darnold doesn't sink to big games. We saw that with the NFC Championship, and I think we're going to see another great game from him in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm also going to go. I originally think I picked the Patriots as my Super Bowl winner prediction. I'm going to switch to the Seahawks. They're just the most well-rounded team between them and the Patriots. Sam Darnold has been playing an elite level. JSN is playing at an elite level. We've seen what the defense can be in the 49ers game. I know the secondary is a bit of a weak point, as shown by the Rams game, but Drake May has been struggling all postseason long. I think the Seahawks and Mike McDonald get this one done.
Yeah, I agree. On the show last week, I picked Seahawks, and I'm going to go with them again. I think they're going to win pretty handedly. I think when you look at like a talent perspective, they're just more talented across the board than the Patriots, although the Patriots have been really solid this season. Even their path to the playoffs has been a little bit questionable. And the fact that they didn't really put Denver away kind of makes me a little bit scared because they really didn't have to do a whole lot and they could only put up 10 points. I really don't think that's going to slide against the Seahawks team where this offense is going to be a lot more well-oiled than the Broncos without Bo Nix. So I'm going to take the Seahawks as well. I guess that's a Seahawks sweep, which probably doesn't bode too well for our picks. But outside of that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the brain drain aspect because I saw something interesting on Twitter. We don't see quite as many dynasties, especially in the NFL, compared to sports like the NBA. I mean, you have the Patriots and you have the Chiefs, but it feels like it's a lot harder to sustain success in the NFL. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. You have a bigger roster. There's just a lot more moving parts. But I think one of the big reasons for that is because coaching matters a lot. Coaching matters more in the NFL than almost any other sport, certainly more than like the MLB or the NBA. And unlike the NBA, in the NFL, like if you have a really good offensive coordinator, they're getting scooped. The Seahawks just had it happen. In the NBA, you're not thinking, oh my gosh, like, the Thunder have such an incredible defense. Like, let's go pick up the defensive coordinator. Like, obviously, it's just not equivalent. But in the NFL, teams do that, and they get a lot of success from it. And I just think it's difficult to retain that intelligence year after year. I wonder how good the Seahawks will be next year without their offense coordinator.
I trust Mike McDonald to be able to get a good guy, but this is just kind of the theme with the NFL. Like even teams that don't go to the Super Bowl, like the Bears, they lost their offensive coordinator Declan Doyle. Eric Bieniemy got an offensive coordinator job with the Chiefs. Al Harris looks like he's going to be back, but he was a guy who was getting a lot of defensive coordinator positions. It's really hard to retain a coaching staff, especially when they're younger, when you have a lot of success. I think, yeah, and I think that's one of the big reasons why you don't necessarily see teams repeat very often as champions in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna trust like Aiden. I really trust Mike McDonald. The fact that he's taken the Seahawks to the Super Bowl in his second season is incredible. But I think it's a growing trend in the NFL, especially now that teams are prioritizing young coordinators and then they become young head coaches. I saw something where I can't remember who exactly what it was, but there were 10 head coaches already in the NFL that were younger than 40 years or 50 years old. That's insane. Imagine saying that 10 years ago. The league is really prioritizing nabbing young guys and rolling the dice on them. I think everyone wants that next Sean McVay. They want the next Kyle Shanahan. There's a high rate that proves that it could blow up in your face, but there's also that small percentage where you could get a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And, I think I don't think they're just going to like explode, but I don't know. I think it's fair to say that it's hard to sustain success, and you never know when you're going to get another shot. So, I mean, especially with a team like the Patriots, like they're young. Drake May's probably going to be good for a long time, but I'm sure the Commanders were saying the same thing about Jaden Daniels last year. You really just never know. Do we have any other thoughts about this game? I mean, it's the Super Bowl, fellas.
I do think it will be a pretty low scoring game, just because Super Bowl, the margin of errors is so slim. I think teams are hesitant to make a lot of like big time risks a lot of times, and just yeah, both defenses are really elite. I think the Patriots haven't scored more than like 18 points in any game these playoffs. So I do think whatever the over under line is set at, I think the under could be a good bet for anyone out there.
I think the only extra thought I had is, and even if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, but if Sam Darnold ends up with the ring by the end of Sunday night, I think that is the ultimate testament to it's not really about prospects being bust as much as it is bad organizations not developing players correctly. And I think Sam Darnold is the prime example of that. If you would have told me that Sam Darnold would be playing in a Super Bowl and he would be a main reason for that, like 5 years ago, I would have called you insane. But he's really proven he still has that USC pedigree. And teams like the Jets and the Panthers just didn't get the best out of them. So I think you're going to really see teams realizing that it's not so much about, oh, the player just wasn't good from the beginning. It's about the coach and the structure that was in place.
Yeah, and he would be the first. He's going to be the first USC quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. He would also be the first one to win it, though I know Aiden hopes it's going to be someone else, Mr. Caleb Williams, hopefully. But let's get into the title of this episode. First, Player of the Week. Player of the Week. We'll get into the NBA trade deadline stuff in a little bit, but let's get into our Player of the Week, especially with college hoops going on right now. There's a lot of really good options. Who wants to go first, Aiden or Keenan? Keenan, go ahead.
I can start us off. I wanted to not only honor this player for a great performance, but pay tribute to a rivalry that, unfortunately, as it stands right now, will not be continuing after this season. I'm going to go over to Gonzaga versus St. Mary's this past Saturday and give a shout out to Mr. Graham Ike for his fantastic performance. He scored 30 points that night on 11 of 20 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3-pointers. He's one of the faces of Gonzaga's team right now. Excellent player, has really blossomed after last season. And I really just wanted to pay tribute to one of my personal favorite rivalries in college basketball. Really hope that they can find a way to continue it.
Because obviously Gonzaga is going to be in the Mountain West next year. St. Mary, where's St. Mary's going to be? No.
The West Coast.
St. Mary's is staying in the West Coast. Gonzaga is going to the Pac-12. right?
Yes.
I'm very disappointed. I feel like if St. Mary's went to that new Pac-12, it would just be, oh my gosh, it would be an incredible basketball conference. I mean, it already is going to be pretty good. But Gonzaga, St. Mary's, San Diego State, Utah State, New Mexico, Boise State, like that would be next level. That would be sick. But you don't quite get that. I wish maybe we should do a little episode on like what the ideal conferences would be, because like for that Pac-12 team, I just want like all the best West Coast schools that aren't like USC, UCLA. Like I want GCU there. I would want. Is there anyone else who I'm like forgetting? Low key, like.
I think GCU and St. Mary's should be getting invites from the new Pac-12 right now if they want to add more prestige to their basketball conference.
I think it's ultimately going to be a basketball conference, the new Pac-12. But are there any other like smaller programs like? No, like UC San Diego's not nearly good enough, or like UC, like they need to stick where they are at. San Francisco and Santa Clara is kind of cool. Santa Clara is an interesting thought.
Santa Clara would be my other guess.
Like Santa Clara would be cool. They're going to dominate the WCC probably.
I would say St. Mary's is probably going to be the new like Gonzaga in that conference where they just kind of dominate every year.
But then it'll be like, Santa Clara will be good too. And there will still be some talent left in the WCC, even though Gonzaga will be gone. But Keenan, or not Keenan, Aidan, who's your player of the week?
My player of the week is another college basketball player. This one comes from the Big Ten. I'm going to go to the Iowa Hawkeyes and Mr. Bennett Sturts. The other night on the road versus Oregon, he had 32 points on 12 of 15 shooting, 7 assists, 0 turnovers, and 2 steals. Career high for Bennett Sturts. He's been playing really well, and this Iowa team, I think, is one of the more underrated teams in the country. They're sitting at 16-5. They've been playing really well, and I think Bennett Sturts has been a massive part of that.
Oh yeah, I mean he was one of the performances of the week. I was a little bit worried when you said Big Ten. I thought you might take my guy, and I was a little bit worried when you talked about rivalry, Keenan, because I thought you were going to take my guy, but thankfully he's left over. But no, I mean, didn't he? He had like some. You mentioned the percentages. How many shots did he take? I think it was 15 shots.
Yeah, 12 for 15, 4 for 6 from 3, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Just insane efficiency.
I mean, dare I say, shoot the ball a little more when you're that hot. Like, let's go get some more shots, man. I obviously was more than enough, but yeah, just crazy to see that volume of scoring on that low efficiency, or that high of scoring on such low volume. But I also went with a Big Ten guy who was also part of a big rivalry, who was also part of 2 massive games this past weekend, although his team only won 1. Mr. Jeremy Fears. I mean, he's a lot of fun to watch for me. Put up 2 great performances against Rutgers. They went to overtime in this one. Put up 29, 4, and 9 on 74% true shooting. 16 for 17 on the free throw line. He was getting to the stripe a bunch and just absolutely carrying this offense. And then he outperformed himself against Michigan. He was really the only guy who was doing anything. 31, 5, 7, and 4 steals on 59% true shooting with a Michigan State team that was just stuck in the mud. I mean, this was a home game against Michigan, and it felt like they were almost playing on the road. Like, they felt scared. They felt rattled by the moment, but he absolutely was not. He is a terrible three-point shooter, and it, like, sucks, because if he could shoot threes, like, I would really like him as a prospect for the NBA, but, I mean, dude shoots 27% from 3, but he's a brilliant passer. He's a solid scorer, and I just really liked what I saw out of him in big-time games. He carried his share, and I just need to shout him out as my player of the week.
I think he had a game like a couple weeks, like a week or so ago, where he had like 17 assists or something like that. Like, he is legitimately one of the best passers in the country. But yeah, like you said, the 3-point shooting really limits him as a NBA prospect, unfortunately.
Yeah, he had 17 the game before that against Maryland. So I mean, you're looking at like a really good streak. Like the past like 5 or so games have been incredible. Probably since that like Indiana game where he had 10 assists. I mean, he is truly one of the best point guards in the nation as a young player. Maybe I'd like to. He's going to go to the NBA right away, and he should. But I mean, that jump shot is just such a big thing to get over. And although I think he's like solid enough on defense, he's still 6'2", 190. So he's going to run into the same problem as Jeremiah fears. So we'll see. But he's still an awesome college hooper, and I think he's such a great player on this Michigan State team. But if that wraps up that, I think we can get into the title of this video, into the NBA. Let's talk some All-Star game ball. I think I just want to start this off by let's go over the All-Star teams, West and East, and then we can air out our thoughts a little bit about it. Or maybe I'll be airing out my thoughts. The West, we already went over the starters last week, but we're going to be focusing on the bench. We had Denny Avdia, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Ant, Chet, LeBron, and Jamal Murray. On the East, the bench was Scotty, Jalen Duren, Jalen Johnson, Donovan Mitchell, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, and Kat. I'll let you guys go first.
I think maybe the biggest snub for me would be Kawhi Leonard. He's played unbelievable in the games that he's played. I think he's averaging close to 28 points per game. I do think a big reason why they probably elected to leave him out is simply because he just has not played a lot of games this year. But I know that matters for awards. I don't think that should really matter for the All-Star game when you're averaging 27 and a half, 6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists a game on pretty good shooting, and you're a big reason why the Clippers have been able to crawl themselves out of a massive hole that they built at the beginning of the season. So, like the fact that Chet Holmgren got in over him, I just can't get on board with that.
And I think I would understand the games played thing. How many games do you think he's played this year? Keep in mind we're about 45, 50 games into the NBA season.
Like 30 something?
Yeah.
He's played 35 games. LeBron's played 31, and he got in. A lot of guys on this list haven't necessarily been the staple of health. Ant's missed 9 games. Like, this is not unreasonable. He's played about 80% of the games. That's a pretty good mark in the NBA, like 75, 80% of games. So, I mean, he's averaging a career high in points. I know we're playing in a really fast era of basketball, but he's averaging a career high in points. He's on incredible efficiency. He is only like 0.2 steals away from his career high there as well. So, like, you're seeing a defensive side of Kawhi that we haven't seen in a super long time. It's just shocking to me. I mean, I would have him over LeBron, as I said, but I kind of understand the legacy bit. I would have him over Denny as well. The one that is really jarring to me, and I just have not heard a good argument for, is Chet. Outside of, like, the Thunder have won more games, but, like, I feel like that's more of an All-NBA thing or, like, an award thing than an All-Star thing. And it's very obvious to me that this Thunder team is good because, A, Shea, and B, they have, like, a really deep team, not necessarily, like, Chet is better than Kawhi. Like, that's just – Chet's not been better than Kawhi this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking at the numbers right now. Kawhi is quite literally averaging 10 more points per game than Chet Holmgren. Like, I get the record thing. OKC is the best team in the league, but I don't know how much of that is necessarily due to Chet. I think obviously Shea has been awesome. Chet has still been good, and he has been quite efficient, but yeah, I just can't get on board with him being above Kawhi Leonard, man.
And I think
I flat out don't understand that.
I think I would get it as well if the Thunder were like, if they were still, remember they were on that historic run and it was like, how many games are they going to lose this year? Like, they could beat the win record. I mean, they're 39-11. Like, they're the 1 seed. They're a really great team. They're still one of the better teams I've seen. But, like, the Nuggets are 5 games back. It's a big gap between 1 and 2, but it's not insurmountable. So I just don't think it's like they're that good of a team where it's like, okay, no matter what, we need to get 2 All-Stars on this squad. So I'm really disappointed that Kawhi's not there. outside of that, like, I think they got it mostly right. I like to see Norman Powell here. He's been great for the Heat. And it's just like such a crazy career arc for him. You know, it makes this 2019 Raptors team look like even better. As time has gone on, like they have aged like wine.
Yeah, I mean, Norman Powell has been just like a player who was like pretty solid, I feel like, for the majority of his career, but the last 2 years as like an older player, he was 31 last year, he's 32 this year. Um, to have by far the two best, pretty much by far the two best seasons of your career post age 30 and make your first All-Star game at age 32 is um, one of the cooler stories for Norman Powell, who I would say up until last year was kind of just a career bench six-man type of guy.
Yeah, I mean he's always been a cool scorer and all, but he's really taken it to another level in what his early 30s. It's just not very often you see that. I like the nod for Jalen Duren. I know he's catching a bit of flack, but I mean, yo, can we turn off the dryer? Can
I will, yeah.
Yeah,
I will.
it's.
I didn't want to leave the camera, but I kept hearing it in the background and it was driving me nuts too. So yeah,
I
I'll
don't know
go and
why
turn that off.
our dryer goes off for like legitimately like 5 minutes. Like it
Come
gets
on,
really.
fellas. We got to be thinking ahead about this stuff before we can't be drying clothes while we're doing showtime.
I can't have it sitting in the washer either, man. Like I can't have it mildewing and getting all damp.
We gotta
I
think
gotta.
a couple hours ahead. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I'm so confused because like our dryer, like legitimately, that alarm will go off for like 5 or 10 minutes. It gets
It's
pissed
obnoxious.
when you don't.
Immediately open it up, get all this stuff. Oh my goodness.
But thank you for taking it out because that was driving me kind of crazy, and I was like, okay,
No,
now
I could hear it in the background, and it was just driving me nuts.
I'm like,
I was
now
hoping
it's gonna
nobody
stop.
else could hear it.
No,
I was hoping nobody else could hear it. No,
Anyway,
I just straight up turned the power off.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what exactly made Jalen Duren like all-star worthy. I think he's very valuable to the Pistons team. Is it the 10 like damn near 11 rebounds a game? Like is that what got him an all-star nod?
I think with Duren, like it's a little hard to quantify with the numbers just how much of a leap he's taken as like more of a dynamic player. Like he's always going to be that big, strong roll man who is a traditional big man who grabs the boards. But this year, he's taken this random leap where he can ball handle in the sense that he can do these straight line drives and he can like beat defenders off the dribble facing them up. And that seems like kind of a small thing, but I genuinely think that's been such a difference for this Pistons team because like, yeah, like, okay, he's not going to be, sizing people up. This isn't like AAU hoops. He's not going to be Julian Newman out here. But like, I don't know. I just think that on top of some of the other developments he's made on offense and like there's how do I want to let me pull up the numbers to back this, but there's
I mean, he's jumped over 6 points a game in terms of scoring from last year to this year. The rebounding numbers are pretty similar across his whole career, but
I just think
the efficiency's actually down from last year, which is crazy.
I just think the volumes. I mean, he's still 67% true shooting from the field. So and like none of that is threes, so it's all layups and maybe little hooks and middies and free throws and dunks. But like I just think him being a more dynamic offensive player has really helped. Maybe it's more of an MIP case, but I don't know. I think who would you let me pull it up. Who would you have over him? Because is the All-Star game still
position based?
Position based?
I mean, let's see. I'm looking like at some of the names here, and I guess it might be, but like the East All-Star bench is Scotty Barnes, Jalen Duren, Jalen Johnson. Like, I don't think it's position.
Like, would you put like Paulo or Franz over Jalen Duren?
I
don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Another option that you could maybe put would be honestly Michael Porter Jr. for the year that he's having, just
Okay.
scoring the ball. But the Nets are so bad that I just don't know that. I don't know that his numbers
My,
really matter or account to much.
my thing with Franz and Paulo is they haven't played quite enough yet, and Paulo was really bad at the beginning of the
Exactly.
year. Part of that is like injury stuff, but they weren't good enough. Um, with Michael Porter Jr., I mean, I know he's averaging 25, but like we all know, it's just volume because he's on a bad team. I'm not
Hmm.
saying he's a bad player, but like I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
Is he really like an all-star level player? I don't think so.
I mean,
I,
I'm looking at the numbers right here.
maybe
He went,
Brandon Ingram would be
yeah,
cool, but I'm kind of fine with it.
like he went from basically shooting around 13, basically 13 shots per game for all of his career to this year where he's shooting 19 shots a game. Like there is no one else on that Nets team who's really shooting and asked to score, so he can just chuck up 20 shots a night and score a lot because that's just kind of what he does, but doesn't really account to much winning basketball.
If the Bulls had kept up any semblance of their hot start on the year, maybe the Giddler, maybe he would have gotten it. But
Yeah,
um,
if he didn't get hurt also, but
yeah, there's certainly several guys that could have made it over during, and I wouldn't have had a stroke about it. But
yeah.
also, I'm just really
But
I think my AI virtual Photoshop barber might have messed up my back on my cut. I low-key need to check that out in the AI Photoshop virtual thing because I don't have a haircut, but it feels like a little weird on the back. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous about that. But and I know last time we talked about maybe Ant should have been a Western Conference starter. But I think that's all our thoughts on the All Star game. Yeah,
yep.
I want to talk about some performances, and then we'll get into some deadline talk. Jared Allen, Big J getting 40 points, 17 rebounds, and 4 blocks in a 130 to 111 win against the Blazers Sunday. Big J. I mean, go get it done.
Yeah, I mean, got to be the best game of his career.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
I mean
16 for
I mean
23 from the field.
I mean what a performance. He had 17 rebounds and 4 blocks. He was playing like Shaq. I've never seen a move like this. Dare I say there might be a drug test imminent for Mr. Jared Allen.
I don't think there's a maybe. Like there's no. I think there's no maybe about it. That was in
No.
his locker.
Immediately after the game.
Now, fellas, we got to be careful to maintain the agenda. Breakdown After Dark, seal approved, state mandated. Too big to fail. Donovan Clingan, he was Player of the Week last week, so we have to maintain the agenda on him. He was the center opposite Jared Allen. He did
Just kidding.
get absolutely horsed on the rebounds. He did go 3 for 10 from the field and have 4 fouls and get blocked a lot. But I just want you to
He's too
remember.
big to fail. All right, we got to give him time. Okay, this is a 11 and 11. He's averaging the same amount of rebounds as points.
We got to remember. Not only is he too big to fail, but he will become even better once we bring in the big tariff, Yang Hansen.
Ah,
And that was the real
oh,
problem, is that he didn't have another big man out there with him to relate to. You know what I mean? Like he saw Jared Allen. He's like, oh, Jared Allen, how tall is Jared Allen? He's like 6'10". Yeah, 6'9", 6'10",
uh,
6'9".
6'9". And he's like,
he
oh, this
feels he feels like he's 7'3" though because of the afro. But
yeah. He's like, oh, this Jared Allen guy is he was like tiny. He was shocked that he got blocked by him. So when not Donovan Clingan's fault, he's too big to fail. He's young. He'll get back to it. Another big performance. Cooper Flagg drops 49 points in an 123 to 121 loss to the Mavericks. Most points ever by a teenager. Unfortunately, he missed the game winner. He got ripped by his teammate and roommate back at Duke, Con Knippel.
I thought Khan also turned in a pretty good performance in that game. I remember watching the highlights at my desk at my internship, and it was crazy watching them go back and forth. If I'm not mistaken, I think another one of their, I don't remember his name, but another Duke teammate of Flag and Kneppel ended up making the game winning, or one of the game winning steals for the Hornets.
Sion James is probably who you're referencing there.
Yes, that is it.
And I just wanted to respond. Stephanie Smith left a comment that the haircut looks good. I do want to remind the people it is AI generated. Our producer is actively photoshopping it in to augment it. I did not get a haircut, but I appreciate it. I'll let our producer know. But no, Cooper Flag played great, and low-key like good that he, the Mavericks are going to want to get as high a pick as they can get. So good that he choked the game at the end. You get an amazing performance, and then you also are going to get a higher pick. I'm interested if we can maybe move to the deadline a little bit off this as a segue to see what.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say the game after scoring 49, he scores. He has 34, 12, and 5 in another loss. So he's going off, but just not really getting a lot of help around him, I guess. He's probably locked in as the rookie of the year just from those couple of performances.
Yeah, he almost single-handedly ruined my Saturday night by leading a comeback against the Rockets.
I'm interested to see what they're going to do at the deadline because it's a strange thing. But, to go off that with Coop, I feel like Cooper Flag is almost like this virus that is, rapidly evolving in real time. I think I kind of saw it with Wemby, too, back in the day, where, from month to month, almost, it seems like he's unlocking new skills and he's getting better. We saw it at Duke, too. At the beginning of the year with Duke, bad shooter. By the end of the year, he was nuts. And he's done that again at the NBA level. And it's what heights can this guy truly get to? I'm not sure. I mean, MVP levels, I have to say at the minimum.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main talk for Cooper Flag, I think coming into the league was just the two-way aspects, that regardless if he never evolves into the scorer that I think a lot of people think he can be, the defense was always going to be there, but the scoring has been just out of control for Cooper Flag. And I think Jason Kidd was getting a lot of flack for playing him at the point guard position. But I think he's kind of looking at it as kind of in the Luka Doncic mold, where this guy, when Kyrie Irving does come back and he's not asked to actually play point guard, he's still going to have those point guard skills and that ability to pass the ball. It's just going to make him an even better, just all-around player.
Yeah, I'll be interested. So they're still kind of built around Luka, so it's a weird team. AD, there was some reports he might be shut down for the year. He might play later depending on hand surgery. It's not entirely clear. Kyrie is still out. Derek Lively's missing time. Dante Exum out for what it's worth. PJ Washington, Brandon Williams. It's just kind of a banged up, weird team. And I think they're going to shed some of these vets either in the offseason or at the deadline. And what are you really left with as long-term Cooper Flag running mates? I don't know. Maybe Max Christie, Ryan Nembhard, and Derek Lively, and that's it. Oh, Keenan just cut out.
Oh, no.
Keenan, are you here?
Oh no, Mr. Vaughn.
Oh, my gosh.
Whoa.
Mr. Vaughn cut out. Mr. Keenan Vaughn cut out.
He's back.
Oh, he's back. Oh, my gosh. What
happened?
happened? You cut out, man. We thought we lost you.
I dropped for a few seconds. Sorry, fellas.
He's back.
I don't know, man. Who knows what he did while off camera.
I was hanging on a thread. I wanted to know who Cooper Flag's future roommates were going to be.
I don't know. I'm assuming they're probably going to be in this next draft, depending on what they do with it. But yeah, outside of that, though, probably the most talked about guy to maybe get moved, Giannis. Do we think he goes this deadline? If so, where?
I don't think so. I just think Aidan and I were talking about it before the show, and I think we agreed. My reasoning is that it just feels too late. I feel like a team would have already had an adequate package put in place to have a trade already. But another reason, and probably the most prominent for me, is trading for Giannis. You are basically saying we're going for it all right now this year, and a trade for him is going to require tons of bench depth, which is something you desperately need during the NBA playoffs. I think maybe teams are a little bit wary of that. They know, yes, we are getting Giannis in return, but what about the rest of the team? What happens if an injury occurs? What if it's not enough? And I think NBA teams are pausing a little bit and saying, maybe we just go get him in the an all-in trade now.
Yeah, I think the big reason why I don't think he gets moved now is because the one report that I'd seen was that it said the Bucks were like countering trade offers for him, and that kind of shows me that they're getting offers from him, they're getting competitive offers, but they still want more, and I think they value the trade asset of Giannis very, very highly, like they should, but even higher than I think a lot of these other teams do. I think they're probably looking to get like a really good young player and like 3 to 4 first round picks, which I just don't know that teams are really willing to bank their entire future on a year or two of Giannis. Um, yeah, like you said, if you're trading for him, you're saying we're winning the championship this year, next year, and then who knows after that.
Also, Steve asks, "Are we going to talk MLB?" I mean, not in this episode, but probably pretty soon here. Are we going to talk spring training? Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like if we're going to talk about MLB before the season starts, it'd probably just be like to recap all of the off-season moves. And there are a ton of them, but since we've already got a loaded slate
It was never
in
going
this
to be this
episode,
show, yeah.
yeah, I would just say we probably need to find an episode where we don't have so much to talk about because there's a lot to talk about with
Yeah,
MLB.
I'm thinking we'll definitely get MLB rolling here, and especially when we're in season, it'll be a regular occurrence. Generally, when things are in season, it's going to be talked about. If not, if there's off-season stuff, like I'm sure the NFL is going to be done next week. The NFL is always going to be around a little bit. It just has a little more staying power than like an MLB. But I think with Giannis, it's tough. I think you do have a little more than just 1 year, but you are going all in. I think maybe he's got 3-ish of this level. Maybe less, maybe more. And how does he age? We don't know. I think it's tough because of the salary. I think it's tough because a lot of the times people mischaracterize him a little bit. He's not a role big man. He's more like a point forward. He really likes to have the ball. He's like a Jalen Johnson, like a Scotty Barnes, which is why I feel like I've seen the Raptors mocked him. That doesn't make as much sense. I mean, I think they'd still be a better team for it, but now you have two guys who can't really shoot, who want to have the ball in their hands to be the best they can. I've seen people try to get the Trailblazers involved so that the Bucks can get their own picks back, but if I'm the Trailblazers, unless I'm getting something like really, really amazing, I want to keep those Bucks picks. Those Bucks picks are really valuable. Like this Bucks team without Giannis is going to be terrible. They really don't have a whole lot of good young assets outside of Ryan Rollins. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to get some stuff back from Giannis, but I would want to keep those picks over almost anything else. But I think it's going to be more of an off-season thing. I think you maybe see the Heat. I don't know. It's just hard to figure out a team that has the package and stuff. In the off-season, it'll be a little bit easier. A little bit of trade rumor that we did see this week. I was at the Clippers game yesterday, and I was wondering, why is James Harden not playing? He's out for personal reasons. Well, part of it is that the Clippers and the Cavs are in advanced trade talks regarding Garland and Harden. Thoughts on this?
It's funny because we talked a lot about Garland on the last episode when we were comparing him to 3 other players. This one's interesting. So is it, just real quick, I wanted to ask, is it just a straight 1-for-1, Garland for Harden?
The specifics I'm not clear on.
The latest Shams report says they're Clippers and Harden are working through whether the sides can find a deal. So I don't know what. I would assume they probably want a little bit, but also Harden's such an old player, so who knows what the value of Harden is, even though he is obviously really good. When you're just trading for a much younger asset in Darius Garland, so I don't know what that package would end up looking like, but yeah, all of a sudden we have another real star that could be getting moved at the deadline.
Could that be the angle for the Clippers? Is despite how incredible Harden has been this season for someone who's 36, that they're trying to deliberately get younger with Garland, who's 10 years younger than him.
I
I
I
I would
don't
say so. I mean, they have the oldest roster in the NBA.
I don't know. It's a tough situation because first of all, we talked about how much Garland's getting paid last episode.
Hmm.
Still remains. He's still got a long, big contract. And he is younger. But the injuries are really worrying for me. Every year he's getting hurt a bunch. He hasn't been able to make it through a season, especially come playoff time. Not that James Harden is the most amazing playoff performer, but I still think Darius Garland is maybe 70 to 80% of James Harden right now. James Harden has aged pretty well. We'll see how he continues to go. But if I'm the Clippers, look, I'm going to be honest, I don't think there's a real avenue to a championship. And I don't think there's a real avenue to having a young core either. They don't have their picks for the next 5 years, and they don't really have young players for the next 5 years. So, in my opinion, you just try to be as good as possible, have a fun, nice team. Maybe somehow you get lucky, but I don't know. I don't think Garland is like ever gonna. I don't think Garland or Harden are gonna be around for any Clippers team that does anything really successful either way. So if you can get some picks from the Cavs, I guess I'd be fine with it. But I mean, this Clippers team has been really good lately. I'd kind of rather just ride that out. They've been one of the best teams in the. They've been the best team in the NBA in the last like 22. They've been like 18-4. So I would just ride that out. Look, you don't have your own picks. Just be good so that they're not as valuable for OKC. Try to, be good on some of these younger players like Jordan Miller and Yannick Cohn-Niederhauser and draft decently. And, then instead of, I don't think they're ever going to have the chance to like cash in on their guys. Like, I don't think Kawhi and James Harden are too old. Their trade value is too low to like have a real like Giannis haul. So you kind of just have to do like a slow thing. Like, I think Norm Powell for John Collins was that, where they open up a bit of cap room. They get a little bit of a younger guy. And I guess you could say Harden for Garland is like kind of the same thing, but I don't know. I just have to see the extra stuff on top. I don't think the Cavs would be willing to give up picks to get an old guard. So I don't think, and from the Cavs perspective, is that the best deal? I don't know. I don't know if I really like it from the Cavs side either. Their whole thing is not getting through the playoffs, not getting through the playoff hump. Well, yes, Darius Garland is injured and gets, doesn't perform very well in the playoffs. It's just James Harden what we want. I think we should be building the team around like a late 20s Donovan Mitchell and a really young, nice Evan Mobley. Harden's a terrible playoff performer, and he's old, and he is a bigger guard, which I like that, but he's still kind of a defensive liability. I just don't know if this is solving problems for either team.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. The fact that this has happened so many times. Teams continuously think we are going to make a push for a deep run in the playoffs. Let's go grab James Harden, who is not known for showing up in big moments at all. You do make a good point, Casey. I mean, the Clippers are playing their best basketball of the season, and now they're deciding to get rid of one of their biggest pieces of that momentum. And what worries me from both angles is from the Clippers side, I just don't know what inclination there is that Garland is he's not on an upward trajectory. He has been straight downhill, and I feel like he's been stagnating ever since 2022. Plus, he's got a huge price tag, like you mentioned. Yeah, and then with the Cavs, you're trying to bolster your playoff depth with a guy who is really only valuable offensively.
Yeah. I don't really get it for either side. I don't know that it really makes either team better. I don't know. the argument for the Cavs would be, well, we think we're a pretty good team with Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Maybe Harden can help push that, but if what we've seen from Harden is that he is not the same player in the regular season as he is in the playoffs, what is really the point of trading for 36-year-old James Harden for him to just falter off once you get into the playoffs? I still think Harden could be moved, but maybe the Cavaliers doesn't end up being the best spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, and I still think Harden is a better defender than Garland. He's bigger. He's a little bit. You don't get picked on as much with having like 2 6'1" guards. But he's still not great there. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't love it for either side. We'll see what happens with it. But any other deadline thoughts, or are we ready to get into men's college hoops?
I think we're ready to get into some college hoops.
Get into some men's college hoops. I wanted to start off with some of these. I mean, there was a lot of good games, but let's start off with Friday. Michigan beats Michigan State 83-71. I talked about it a little bit earlier regarding Jeremy Fears. Michigan they were pretty dominant in this one.
They're so frustrating because the first half showed that Michigan, when they are clicking, they are unstoppable. They are the best team in the country, arguably, but they're not consistent with it. That second half, they let Michigan State back into it. They let Jeremy Fears get hot, and it's been an issue all season long for the Wolverines. If they can find a way to play a full 40 minutes with this level of
Natasha
depth,
Adair.
I really do. I'm reiterating the full 40 minutes excuse that we commonly heard, but it really is true. I mean, if you are going to be hoisting the national championship trophy, you have to find a way to be consistent all the way through. And Michigan just quite hasn't found that here in Big Ten play. But at the end of the day, beating Michigan State in their own house is a huge win for Dusty May, who is a total savage for that picture he took where he was sitting in front of the Michigan State fans.
I wanted Michigan State to win this so much more. Like, they feel like the more
like just easy to root for squad.
Yes, I love Izzo. I love Michigan State. This Michigan team feels like bought, not earned. I don't know how legitimate that is, but
I mean, 4 out of their 5 starters are transfer portal guys, so that's probably fairly legitimate. Yaxel Lendeborg continues to be, when he's on, he's one of the best players in the country. He had 26-12 versus a really good Michigan State squad, but it was the defense of Michigan that really surprised me. I mean, the quality of looks that Michigan State was getting were just not very good. They shot 37% from the field, and they were 4 for 23 from the three-point line. Now, whether that's more to the defense or in the credit of Michigan, or maybe it's just the fact that Michigan State just might not be a very good three-point shooting team. I'm not too sure, but I still think that, like, Arizona obviously is undefeated. I still think Michigan, when they're on, I still think they're the best team in the country.
We have breaking news from the IML League's world. Ethan Kenny has been now listed as questionable due to his internship and may miss the Thuggery, our intramural basketball team's doubleheader against Bacon, Egg, and Cheese and the Blacklisters.
That would be a big loss. Ethan Kenny's a great player.
Genuinely would be really rough against the Blacklisters because Jordan and I were talking, and I will not touch on this for very long because this is not very relevant. Basically, our intramural team, we have me and Ethan, which are both bigger wing/guards who can beat guys off with foot speed, and they only have one of those, which is Aidan O'Neal. So if we have 2 of us, they can't guard one of us. But if Ethan's not there, I don't know. But let's get back to some more serious basketball. Anything else on Michigan State?
No, I don't think so.
Well, going into the next day, Saturday, some Mountain West hoops. San Diego State, Utah State. Utah State came out on top this one, 71-66. This now puts the top of the Mountain West in a really interesting spot here as we get 3 teams all tied up top. Utah State, New Mexico, San Diego State. San Diego State beat New Mexico. Utah State beat San Diego State. And now New Mexico and Utah State will be playing shortly. Those 3 teams are really the top dogs in the Mountain West right now.
Yeah, I mean, a three-way tie at the top, but I mean, GCU has been coming on strong recently.
Nevada's only a game back.
I was gonna say Nevada's only a game back. So Mountain West is very very competitive. It's very like it is every year. It's you got five teams at the top that can still realistically compete for that regular season title.
Yeah, I still think this is probably still a three-bid league. I think Utah State and New Mexico State and San Diego State are obviously the favorites. Maybe Nevada and Grand Canyon can make more of a statement. New Mexico has been really hot lately. They've got probably the most momentum out of any team. Be really curious to see how that game against Utah State goes on Wednesday, since that's in the pit. That's a huge advantage for the Lobos. I was really disappointed in this one. Aiden and I were at a game we'll talk about in just a second, but we kept checking the score, and it seemed like the Aztecs were leading for a good portion of the game, but then Utah State grabbed the lead, and we checked the stat lines, and it was another game where Miles Bird and BJ Davis just did not give a superstar performance. Both went 3 of 12 from the field. That's just unacceptable.
Bird was particularly rough. I mean, forcing shots, not getting to his spots, not driving to the rim. It's tough because he's so good defensively that you have to keep him on the floor. But, as a guy who's touted as an NBA prospect, his offensive game is not nearly as polished as you'd expect from a guy who is in his fourth year of college basketball. Now,
Like
that being said,
fought,
also
sorry.
this was a tough one for the Aztecs considering Magoon was out, LZ Harrington was out, Pharaoh Compton had to leave the last 15 minutes because he broke his nose again, and BJ Davis fouled out with the last 4 minutes left. So you were looking at a really strange lineup to close this one. So it's not too surprising they couldn't get it done in Logan when you had Sean Newman, who, I mean, 2 and 5 is cool and all, but him playing 20 minutes is pretty stunning. When you have that to close a game, it's going to be rough. The Aztecs took a rough turn to end the second half. They were up 11 with 3 minutes left in the second half. It was tied at halftime, and after that, it was going to be a rough game.
Just the thing with Miles Bird, like you said, he's so good defensively that you have to keep him on the court. He blocks shots, he gets steals. He had another game with 5 stocks as a guard, but the offensive output just leaves a lot to be desired. I The fact that he shoots as many threes as he does while being a 30% 3-point shooter is tough, but it's not just the fact that the threes, it's the quality of looks that he's getting. I feel like every one of the threes that he takes are just they're not very good shots. They're far away from the basket. They're early in possessions. Just the shot selection is definitely questionable at times for him.
Shout out to Reese Dixon Waters. He's really been the consistent player on the offense for SDSU. Recorded 19 points against Utah State.
Yeah, he was the best player on the team that game, and he's been the best player in a lot of them. They're a deep team, but they really need to establish who the top end guys are. In other news, that Saturday, U of A beat ASU, and fellas, you guys were at this game. Tell me all about it.
It's just I told Aiden exactly what was going to happen, and lo and behold, it came true. They had that first half where they were keeping up with the Wildcats. They showed potential, maybe they can do it. Maybe they can really pull off this upset. And the second half was just it was just really bad to watch. Poor shots. They were getting absolutely dominated in the paint. Eventually, Arizona just realized they had no defense when they would just go up and take easy shots, either layups or just shots in the paint. It was just really frustrating to watch because for a team that can keep up with some of the top-end teams like Arizona, ASU is just so poorly coached, and it shows every single game.
What? Bobby Hurley's not coaching them?
I mean, we were at this game. Arizona had 50 points in the paint. I mean, it was 38-38 at halftime, and the final score was 87-74. you said it perfectly. Like they realized at a certain point that, oh wow, ASU has no rim protection. Like we can get good looks with our big men on basically every single possession, and even if we miss, good chance that we get the offensive rebound. Um, I guess no, the rebounding disparity was pretty bad. It was 47 to 32. The offensive rebounding wasn't that bad, but they just simply dominated with their size, which I feel like is kind of what Arizona's done all season long. It's the reason they're the number one team in the country.
And I do have to say this: after watching him in person for the first time, I have to say, as much as I enjoy watching the man because he's so tall, Mazamba Diop is such a bad defender. It really is shocking. For a guy his size, he was just getting torched all game long. And then Aiden and I were just criticizing Santiago Truitt the whole time, just watching him make dumb mistakes, bad shots. It was just dumbfounding. Whenever Mo Odom wasn't on the court, it was like ASU just couldn't function.
That's the thing with the Mo Odom criticism is like he's inefficient, but without him, they're just so screwed. Truitt is terrible. I watched him play when he was at UC San Diego, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is not that good. He's coming to ASU. He's making the move to a Power 4 school. Like, it's just a lack of true Power 4 talent on this ASU squad, and particularly the interior defense is not good enough. He's got a lot to learn. He's only an 18-year-old, but he's not enough, and they don't have the help side to make up for it. So they're really going to struggle against the number one team in the nation. But ASU couldn't complete the upset against a top-end foe, but another team did beat not undefeated team, a ranked team, and that was Kentucky beating Arkansas 85-77. Kind of strange to say that Arkansas is the one being upset by Kentucky, but that's where we're at right now in 2026.
Just what a frustrating team. Arkansas is just so hot and cold under Calipari. I know it felt sweet for Kentucky to get, I guess you could say, revenge on Calipari. But this Arkansas team, for the amount of talent that they have, the fact that they have a guy as good as Darius Acuff, and that they're still struggling against, I mean, Kentucky's not terrible, but they've had an incredibly disappointing season, and they were limping into this contest. Arkansas was at home, and they still lost, mainly because their defense just wasn't good enough. They cannot find a supporting cast around Darius Acuff, and they're struggling in this SEC slate. The SEC is having a down year. All signs should be pointing to Arkansas taking advantage of this, and they're just not.
Yeah, I mean they were leading the SEC for a while. They're now fourth in the SEC behind A&M, who I'm surprised still is not ranked as they're leading the SEC, and they're 17-4. Florida is a team that's come on strong recently. Vanderbilt's sort of bounced back after a couple of losses. But yeah, like it's tough because, like you said, Darius Acuff is a real candidate for the SEC Player of the Year, but outside of that, they just have not really gotten a consistent number two option. It feels like every game it kind of varies who else is scoring outside of Acuff, whether it's Trevin Brazil. I think they expect Malik Thomas to be that guy, that secondary scorer, and he's just been too inconsistent, which is kind of the story of the season for Arkansas is just good but too inconsistent.
Well, our last game to cover on a jam-packed Saturday this past weekend, Kansas BYU, AJ DeBansa, Darren Peterson, and the Jayhawks come out on top, 90-82.
Yeah, this game was fantastic to watch. Darren Peterson, man, he lit up the first half. It looked like Kansas was just going to destroy BYU. The Cougars had no answers offensively. It really felt like it was just Richie Saunders and DeBansa trying to will the team, while Darren Peterson could not miss. And then Peterson did not come in at all during the second half. Aiden and I we just kept sitting there wondering, why isn't Peterson not even shown like warming up or trying to sub in. He just was sitting there. And lo and behold, Richie Saunders had an incredible performance, almost brought BYU back, but Kansas still scores a huge win. And adding on the win today in Lubbock against Texas Tech, the Jayhawks are getting hot and looking like they're returning to being one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, I mean, this was the story going into the game was, the battle between the number 1 and number 2 prospect, and I think it's pretty safe to say that Darren Peterson outplayed AJ DeBonsa. He had 18 points in 20 minutes in the game, but he was 6 for 8. He had a crazy poster dunk over 2 BYU players, but yeah, he played like the first 2 minutes of the second half, and I think it was from like 16:40 on. Did not return to the game, and this is a real concern with Darren Peterson, at least for me. I do think he is the number 1 prospect now after kind of watching that game. But the injury stuff and the fact that like he's missed as many games as he has, and even in the games where he does play, he plays like half the game and he sits out a lot. It is a real concern. They kept flashing the camera to him, and you could see him with kind of like a wrap over his leg. He was kind of trying to like massage it. It is definitely concerning, but I mean, when he does play, he is absolutely electric.
Yeah, I think when you have 2 players who are both this good, I think it's a razor-thin difference, so that injury stuff is going to matter a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I would personally take DeBansa. I think he's slightly better for the NBA game as well, but I'm just a bit worried with the injury stuff. But moving on to our Sunday slate, Illinois beats Nebraska 78-69. 2, top end squads. A Nebraska program that historically has not been very good. When do you think the last time they won an NCAA tournament game was?
Never.
Never.
That is
They've
correct.
never won one.
Never. They've never won one. Certainly this has to be the year, right?
I mean,
You never know. You never know.
It would be a massive upset in the tournament if they didn't win. But yeah, I'm not making any guarantees. But what I am guaranteeing is that Keaton Wagler is playing himself into a lottery pick because, oh my goodness, this guy is absolutely incredible. And Illinois is another team where they are really starting to look like not only one of the best teams in the Big Ten, which says a lot, but one of the best teams in the country.
They're ranked number 5 now. Nebraska dropped to number 9.
I mean, I was watching sparingly, but most of the second half. And Keenan Wagler, I think he only had like it took him a while to get going, but once he got going, it was clear that he was the best player on the court. I mean, he is so good at just getting to his spots. He can hit threes. He's good at the mid range. He's good at getting to the basket. Like, he is a legit, real NBA prospect, which is kind of crazy. Kind of came out of nowhere for this Illini team, and in a year where they had so many like big time transfers, and they brought up a bunch of like European guys in. I don't think anyone saw this kid being their best player and being one of the best players in the country. But that is absolutely what he is, and I think it's the best start to a season for Illinois in the last like 20 years since they had that team with Luther Head and all those guys, and they went to the Final Four that year. So maybe this is another year where Illinois can potentially make a deep run in the playoffs or the tournament. They look really good, and I think they're going to go as far as Keenan Wagler takes them.
Yeah, I mean, a very solid win for the Illini. Move into the top 5. They would be a 2 seed right now in the tournament. But our other ranked matchup from that Sunday, well, one of these teams isn't quite ranked anymore. Florida just beat the brakes off of Alabama, 100-77. A Florida team that at the beginning of the year was struggling a little bit, lost a couple more games than they probably would have expected, but now is shaping into some pretty solid form.
This Alabama team, this feels weird to say because Alabama's been so consistent over the last few years. It just really feels like they're stagnating this year. They don't have that it factor. I was wondering if we start talking about the G League curse because they also brought in a player with NBA experience, and ever since then they really haven't been that great. They've lost two of their last three, and I know playing Florida is hard. Florida is a team that I would bet on right now to win the SEC. Alex Condon is an absolute beast, one of the most underrated players in the country. But it's just been such a hallmark for Nate Oat teams at Alabama to really prioritize the offense and not, focus so much on the defense. And I feel like that's really starting to come back to bite them now that they don't have an X factor like a Mark Sears.
Yeah, I think they kind of hoped that that LeBaron Philon could be that guy for them, that X factor, and he has been really good for them. Don't get me wrong, he's averaging 21 and a half a game, but I think when you play that style of basketball that they do play, which is just super fast, shoot a ton of threes, it's a very like NBA style of basketball in college basketball. Um, it's tough because you're just going to have games like this where the pace is really fast and you're not going to be able to get stops. Like it's pretty rare that you see a team in college basketball score 100 points in regulation. But that's exactly what Florida did. They ran all the way up and down the court. Um, the big men of Florida absolutely feasted. Um, yeah, I don't think this Alabama team is nearly as strong as it has been in years past.
Yeah, particularly rare to score 100 points against another Power 4 school. It's one
Hmm.
thing to do it when you're a non-con player or whatever, but this was a very, very impressive win, and I think a big reason they shot up to 17 in the polls. Well, our last game to cover from men's college basketball, Kansas, another one against Texas Tech this time, 64-61. And Darren Peterson, 19 points, but relatively inefficient, and they still came out on top.
Uh, Relatively inefficient, but he made by far the two biggest shots of the game. Proven that he's a big time player. This was maybe the first game I've seen all year where he actually plays like a full game of basketball. And Kansas really needed him late in this game. He had a huge three with like a minute and a half over JT Toppin in the corner, just really tough shot. And then just hit a pull up three with 45 seconds left to take the lead. Um, I will say I do have to shout out Melvin Council. He has been um, like when Darren Peterson's been out, he's been like that their go-to guy offensively, and he is just so fun to watch. Not a great shooter, but he's got to be up there for one of the fastest players in the country. Like he gets the ball in transition, and he is just a missile going downhill and getting to the basket.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Melvin Council is just so underrated for a team where Darren Peterson gets all the spotlight. And I think this game really showed that when JT Toppin is not at top form, Texas Tech suffers greatly. He had probably his worst game all season. He was 5 of 18 from the floor and only scored 10 points in a season where he's averaging 22.4. And it was also not a great night for Donovan Atwell. Those are the two big pieces for Texas Tech's offense. When those two are clicking, this is a really underrated squad. But those two were off tonight, and this was a game that they really needed to bounce back after a tough loss against UCF on Saturday, and their offense just did not impress me.
Crazy, crazy. By the way, to
Just
think like, imagine if JT Toppin was still in New Mexico.
Yeah,
That feels so long ago. That was back in freshman year.
I mean, I will say it is probably important to note that one of the Texas Tech's best players, Christian Anderson, did not play in this game. He was seen on the sidelines, in uniform, cheering his team on. But I'm not sure what happened. Either he got hurt really early on in the game or in warm-ups or something. Because, usually if you're hurt going into the game, you just kind of got your warm-up on. But he had his jersey on, but I'm not seeing him recorded really anywhere in the box score. So he did not play, and I think Texas Tech really missed that offensive output that he provides for them.
Oh, certainly. I mean, he's one of their two best players, him and JT Toppin. So I would say it certainly played into it. But I think that's everything we have from men's college basketball. So we can move on to our first little UFC segment in a while. Definitely have you leading it a little bit more, Aidan. Aidan, give me a broad scope. Let's start with the title fight for UFC 325.
Okay. Yeah, title fight was a rematch. Me personally, my favorite fighter in all of the UFC, Diego Lopez, fighting for the title in a rematch versus the greatest featherweight of all time, and Alexander Volkanovski. This fight was really frustrating for me to watch, just being such a fan of Lopez. It felt like I was watching the same fight like that I'd watched just like 8 months ago. Felt like Diego Lopez did not really make a ton of adjustments from their first match, and a lot of the reasons why he lost the first fight is kind of the same reasons why he lost the second one. His style is being like a very high pressure, aggressive fighter who kind of tries to get into these brawls, and I don't know. It felt like maybe he felt the pressure the moment, just couldn't really get to Volk. I'm not sure what the issue was, but kind of felt like I was watching the exact same fight as I had watched the first time around.
I mean, it was a pretty jarring damage difference. I remember you said Lopez broke both of his feet, which is
Yes.
absolutely nuts. And on the other side, Volkanovski, like, I don't know. He didn't, by the end of the fight, after 5 rounds, he looked relatively scratch free. Lopez really it didn't put much pressure on him. And I mean, as you said, one of the greatest, if not the greatest featherweight of all time. Who do you think would be best at taking him on next?
I think in like a couple months, it's the main event of UFC London is Lerone Murphy versus Movsar Evloev. Both of those guys are undefeated. I think Movsar could probably give him more of an issue just because of how good he is wrestling and grappling, but the striking is really, really poor for Movsar. So if the fight stays on the feet, Volk is just going to dominate him, and Volk is good at defending takedowns and has good enough wrestling and grappling himself. I really don't see anyone in the division being able to beat Alexander Volkanovski, which is crazy to say for him. Being as old as he is, it's rare that you see a champion be like, I think, what is he? I think he's 37 years old. Especially in a like lighter weight class. I really just don't see anyone in the division being able to compete with him right now.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the big boys. Let's talk about the heavyweights, the guys that we wanted to see rumbling around, Aidan. What do we think about Tuivasa and Texara?
Maybe the worst heavyweight fight I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the fact that with 2.5 minutes left in the fight, they were both standing in the middle of the octagon with their hands on their hips because they were so gassed and out of shape and tired. Like, oh my goodness, dude.
After the fight, they both just sat down and they couldn't even make it to the stools.
They both just laid there next to each other, just like gasping for air.
Imagine if it was a 5-round fight.
If it was a 5-round fight, legitimately someone would have had to tap out because of exhaustion.
TKO by stamina, by sweat loss.
Yes, legitimately. Like the state of the heavyweight division in the UFC is probably, it might be the worst that it's like ever been, or at least certainly has been in a long time. I did see a funny argument. They're like, the UFC needs to allow heavyweights and heavyweights only to take steroids again, because we cannot be having fights like this. It is a bad look for the sport where you have two guys, one guy who is struggling to make 265 pounds. They're just like two blobs, just like like dying from exhaustion in the octagon, man. It's ridiculous. We I, the fact that neither one of them could really make it to the stool after the fight was just such a bad look, man. Like, what are we doing, dude?
And it was particularly embarrassing for Tuivasa because he lost this one on decision. He was like one good headshot away, maybe two.
Oh my! I mean,
he had him stumbling. He
had him so hurt and wobbled. Like you could tell how tired that Teixeira was, but it didn't matter because Tuivasa was even more tired. Like he would attempt to like clinch him and grapple him just so he could get a breath, so he could get a break and try to get some stamina back. Like he had him on the ropes. He just legitimately did not have the stamina to be able to push and get Teixeira out of there.
If he just had one or two good shots, it was over. He was getting knocked out. His corner was yelling at him to do it, but just didn't have it.
He did not have the gas tank left.
It reminds me of that story you told me at the U of A game where that guy was trying to hide the fact that he was overweight by leaning his elbows, and UFC was like, no, we're not following.
Yeah. There's a guy, Aaron Tao, who, initially, the UFC sometimes if guys are struggling to make weight, you can kind of hold up a curtain, so that you don't see them like super dehydrated and they can shed whatever clothing I guess that they have on, and try to make weight. But they brought out the curtain and he rested his elbows on the curtain and weighed in at 122 pounds. And, they thankfully the matchmakers, the guys who are in charge of making sure guys make weight, they sensed something was a little wrong there, a little fishy. So they removed the curtain and then he weighed in without the curtain and he was 128 pounds, which is 3 pounds overweight. So he tried to pull a fast one on him, but they said no. I commend the effort, but his fight did end up getting canceled after that. So he might get cut from the UFC. The UFC does not have much of a tolerance for guys missing weight, especially when you're trying to kind of cheat the system like that.
When you're putting more thought into how to cheat than how to actually just lose the weight you need to.
Any other thoughts though from UFC 325, Aidan?
No, I don't think so. Other than Quillen Salkild looks like one of the best prospects in the UFC. He's 4-0 now with 3 first-round finishes. So he will certainly be getting an opportunity to fight a ranked fighter next, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, well, let's get into our last segment of this jam-packed episode. A little bit of golf. We got the Waste Management Open coming to Phoenix, and I hear that the Breakdown After Dark is getting a lot of our members out there.
I will be there for the first time ever. I will be at the Waste Management Open, and I could not be more excited about it.
What are you going to be spectating or what? Or are you getting sent for a class or beat?
I will have a credential from my internship with Arizona Sports. I will be going there assisting a team of people, kind of helping with social content, monitoring the result of the tournament as it goes on. It'll be really interesting because a lot of the stuff they want to do is like man on the street interviews. So we're going to ask people, a bunch of, like fun questions. We're even going to go up on Wednesday, I believe, and we're going to go talk to some of the famous celebrities that are going to be popping out. I know we've already arranged. We're going to have like a talk with Larry Fitzgerald while we're there.
Wow.
So it's going to be super exciting. I'm a huge golf fan, thanks to my dad. And it's genuinely mind blowing how I haven't gone and I've been here for 3 years, but I could not be more excited to go this year.
Have you been, Aidan?
I've not been. I've heard only good things about it. I think a lot of people refer to it as the People's Open, just because of how, it is such a far disparity from any other golf event in terms of the level of like rowdiness from the crowd. Just it's a big 4-day party really at the Waste Management Open. It's not one of the major tournaments of the year, but it is an absolute blast from every video that I see of, people chucking beer from the stands after people make like a big shot. There's always some guy who runs on the course. It is absolute chaos. So I am very jealous of Mr. Keenan Vaughn being able to go and cover that.
Yeah, I got to go. I got to go my freshman year for Blaze with Mr. Sam Goodman and Kevin Cardez, and we did bottom of the sixth out there, the radio show, and it rained, dude, while we were there. Oh my gosh, it was miserable. It was all like muddied and gross, and just like because the people were drinking, and then it's wet.
Oh yeah.
It was truly a nightmare. And I also I saw for Blaze they're sending across the pond. They're sending Andrew and
they
Seth.
really?
Yeah,
Very
of course
nice.
right after
Hey, shout out.
well, of course right after I leave across the pond, they decide to go out to the waste management. But I'm very happy for them. That'll be a lot of fun.
I mean, you mentioned the weather here. I'm looking at the weather report. It looks like we're gonna have some pretty awesome weather. So I don't
no
think
rain.
we have any risk of rain. So it'll be an electric couple of days at the Waste Management Open.
Yeah. The pro-am's always cool. Cal Riley, Mookie Betts, and Kevin from The Office will be there. So it's a pretty cool pool. And I was out there. I think I saw Glenn Powell.
Okay.
Who did I see? I saw Nick Saban, I think. I saw a couple other. I got to talk to Michael Phelps. That was cool.
That's
was
really
sick.
cool. Yeah.
That was probably the coolest thing. But honestly, fellas, I don't have a whole lot to say about golf. I really don't know.
I'm not a big golf fan. I know the Farmers Insurance Open I think ended today.
I think that it actually ended yesterday.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Justin Rose pulled that one out. If my
Yeah,
dad
he did.
was correct.
He did, yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna Plus, it's not really a tournament where you can just sit here and be like, oh, it's pretty obvious who's going to win. Since the last 2 years, pretty heavy underdogs and unknowns have won the Waste Management Open. But I mean, obviously, Scotty Scheffler is participating, and he's probably the best golfer in the world, and he has experience winning the Waste Management Open before. So I feel like he'll be the easy bet, but I'm really curious to see with this absolutely stacked field of golfers who's going to pull it out.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who else because Maddie just texted me asking, you saw Glenn Powell? I saw a bunch of celebrities. I can't remember. Also, it's funny. Zippy was our producer. That was a lot of fun. It was Michael Phelps. Oh, I saw like all the golfers. Like I got to talk to Scotty. Scheffler was cool. And that was when he was like he hadn't won he hadn't won one yet. Not that the Waste Management Opens where you're gonna get one. But yeah, I got Glenn. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's Glenn Powell. Well, you guys obviously can't. You guys can't see me because of the setup we have, but maybe our audience can see me. There was a double rainbow. Who else did I see there? There was more. There was like a bunch of actors. I know Larry Fitzgerald was there. He's always there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that about wraps up the show. We'll definitely talk MLB. Little unscripted talk here. Not that we have a script in front of us, but like, you know what I mean. We'll talk MLB starting soon. Keenan. I'm always if you ever want to bring a little NHL on here, I know you're more of our you're probably our biggest hockey guy. And I'll as the Premier League and the Champions League are winding down, I'll at least mention them. Like I'll have it on the rundown. Tottenham are actually doing really good this year. So in the Champions League, that is, they're doing terrible in the Premier League, which is always funny. I love that there's a playoff format and a regular season format going on at the exact same time. But yeah, I want to try to hit on like a bunch of different sports. Like obviously the NBA, NFL, and men's college, especially like men's college basketball and the NBA are going to be like our big things. I think that's what we're going to spend the most time talking. But I think if we can at least mention as many sports as possible, like I think that's good for the show. And I think it's just like, trying to bring some credence to the original like plan and message of the channel.
Just real quick, I know it's a little unrelated because we've been talking about golf, but I did just see a post of a Miami's full offer for Giannis. So I guess that can provide a little insight into sort of what the Bucks are kind of looking for. It was Khalil Ware, Tyler Hero, Terry Rozier, another young player or more, and a 2030 first round pick, 2032 first round pick, and potentially first round pick swaps in 2026, 2029, and 2031. So potentially 5 first round picks and multiple really talented young players. If that's an offer that they legitimately submitted and the Bucks still said no, I really don't see him getting traded then.
I don't know. Like, this, I don't know if you can say it's 5 first round picks because they're pick swaps, so it's
They're
not.
pick swaps, so it's
They're
not
not. They're not
technically.
nothing, but it's still weird. Tyler
Yeah.
Hero, like, I kind of understand it because I feel like who's the like young crown jewel there? I mean, Tyler Hero is an all star, is
Um,
cool, but like he's not someone
it's
you build around.
probably
Dude,
um
it's not Khalil
the
Ware.
the other young the other young player that they would probably toss in there would maybe be Kasparis Yakachonis, which depends how you feel about him, how you like him. Um, I'm just saying like in terms of like the really young players, I think he is. I think he's a rookie this year, so that would probably be the other guy who's got some potential. But yeah, I don't know that Khalil Ware is necessarily that like blue chip young uh, player that the Bucks were kind of have been saying that they're looking for.
Yeah, well, fellas, I am absolutely famished. I got some goldfish in the pantry that I'm about to munch on. Are we giving goldfish, specifically rainbow goldfish, a boom or a doom? How many booms? How many dooms?
Um,
I'll give that a boom.
I,
boom?
I like
Not my favorite kind of goldfish, but they're all right.
They were on
I would
sale.
I might have to go with Doom
Whoa!
in terms of goldfish.
Okay.
They might be my least favorite brand. You got the regular, the
Yeah.
flavor blasted, the
Oh.
pretzel goldfish.
The pretzel's so good too. I'm so sorry.
Like so,
Such a
and
fat child.
that's not a knock on the rainbow
No.
goldfish. I do still think they're good. It's just when you got those other options out there, they are the lowest on
They
there.
should be the third best player on your team, and right now in my pantry snack collection, they are my superstar, which is rough. We need to be heading to the grocery store soon. But that about wraps it up for today's episode of the Breakdown After Dark. We're gonna get some more. I wrote some shorts. Did you fellas write some shorts in the?
Um,
We'll talk about it later. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Whether it was any section tonight, I'm also gonna get the time codes up for this episode so you can go back and scroll through your favorite sections again, or